Alright, I'm casting. Alright, so here we are at the January 2018 tournament, and this is game number 9. So, I believe it is 6-2 for Argonauts team, and now this is the 9th game. Go ahead and put some of the HUDs. We should be nice to have the map. There are a couple of observers. Early ball, Belgium rush. And okay, loading of Egypt, so he's going to get everything out there. I already lifted the barracks. Clears out the 2 bunkers, luring tanks. Getting quite a bit for that. So got 3 of the 4, or got all but 1 of the UK tanks. And now Balthasar is going to head and rush. So as we can see, he's going to try to go as much as he can without coming into that air, and he's realizing the air is there, and he's going to come back to the defensive position here, trying to get his valuable buildings and dropships out, and he does, while putting on a defensive front. Very close to getting the core. So when you get the core this low, you generally want to tell your UK that, because what the UK can do is with 2 or 3 BCs come around here with Norway's help and Yamato it. And if you can get this turn 2, 3, or 4 just by being able to come back and get a Yamato, it's a very good use of your movements and your APM. So these 2 missile turrets, very well placed to catch the eventual Swiss rush. This is a really good France hold by Balthasar. I really got to hand it to him. Argonaut is right here, trying to get as much damage as possible with the RAF, and he is. He's getting a couple shots off. He's already got 68 kills here as Balthasar, and Arg is not going to want to lose any more RAF. He's going to conserve this, and let's see how many he has. He has at least 12, so probably a little bit more than 12. It looks like about a 14. Meanwhile, he's also pushing here in Africa. BC's getting up to this dangerous position. Once you can generally push this bunker here, but going any farther, very dangerous. Of course, it is so much easier to push bunkers when you do have BCs. So here they go, 1 bunker down. Any response? No response as of yet. This is where the messers are, going to France. No response from these. And a great reward here for Argonaut, and if he decides to push, he's going to be very pleasantly surprised. Axis not responding. Nice wall. Very strong east wall. Nothing here on Balks just yet. It is Bobo. Bobo does have the drops. And he does. He does go forward. Takes out the missile turret and then heads back to Egypt. Gonna get Algeria. And this is all before France is coming out. 75 kills for France. Going ahead and moving his buildings away. Got his drops out. UK will not be very happy if he runs his RAF. This will change right now, right at 40, 440. This was stuffed. Pretty good amount of scouts left for Goliath here in Spain. Most of them are damaged. Very unusual, Crisp having the drops in this area. I'm thinking he's going to be dropping med. But he wants to pick up his tanks first. Oh, I like that. Very interesting. No defenses for UK just yet. Bobo looking to attack. He's probably going to be going bulk, so he's going to be attacking with all his men. He just got a trigger. That's what he's moving. and he's got RAF with him, as well as quite a few drops. Looks like he's got at least 8 there. It's hard to see, but this is going to break right through, and it's going to avoid this entire bunker wall. So we'll see if he can get most of his army over. BC should be able to take out this bunker relatively quicker. If you can get the siege tank killed as well, that bunker as well, and then go and funnel. And generally the big fight is around this bunker here. You're just moving right forward, knocking down these bunkers. No more defensive structures except for up here, which is getting poked anyways. Huge amount of men for the Axis. Definitely outnumber the amount of allied men that are here. Spain is backing up. He's going to have a hard time dropping this area, but it is going to be right under the BCs. So Axis are going to have the ground advantage. They are going to be able to counter this attack. Where are they going to decide to go? Norway going to be going into the core. He's dropping Berlin. Only 1 bunker remaining. He's going to be able to possibly get both ports and the core and a CC, with doing damage to the siege tank, possibly to the missile turrets as well. He's going to be very, very pleasantly surprised by how this Berlin drop went. And even though they got crushed in Austria, being able to take out all the key buildings, including the armory, and Lurker is going to see this barracks, and it's going to decide, yes, he absolutely is. The Axis don't see him taking this, and he's going to get this barracks, just getting so much value from this drop. Lurker turning the game on his head, and for a second draft pick, wow, he is really going to be a great addition to this Argonaut team, who's already doing well in this tournament. And when you add a Lurker Norway in there, and a normally where you put your weakest player, and you have him making huge plays as Norway, you're going to be very, very happy. BC's heading down to Med. It's going to be absolutely stuffed. Chris going to have 4 buildings there. And we're going to see where they're going to want to go afterwards. But here, because of what was taken out, going to be able to poke here onto the Western German Belgium side. And this does not bode well for Napoleon. If I was Arg, I'd probably be building some BCs right now. I'd probably start with the BCs, but he has better air control than I do, so he's still building RAF. Well, he's got 2 each, but these could be 2 BCs. No, they're still RAF. Italian BC's clearing out Crete. He's probably going to also clear out Athens, unless he tries to hold Algeria. Axis retreating. Italy's knows very well what's happening in Algeria because he's moving his men. So we're going to see what he decides. No, he's just going to decide to go Athens. And with the German BCs and the direction they're going, there looks like they're going for an Egypt push. So look at this. So Algeria is being taken right now with the bulk of, well, the entirety of France's army. He's got nothing over here, as you can see. And they're going to counter push with BCs and Messers. I love it. I love the innovation. Napoleon and Chris. I don't know who's calling these plays, but great call. And pushing all 3, they're going to have a chance of getting Wells, and they're going to need to get something big because there's going to be a counter push by Lurker and Argonaut, and they're going to have to do something to make these BCs want to come back because they do not want them down here in the Middle East. Where they get Wells. This is going to be the key for them. Looks like they're going to head back, and that is enough Spanish troops to be able to take Wells. So Lurker is going to get a decent push. Not going to be able to do the entirety of damage that he needs, but is trading very well. Access to allied men. Goliath's going to be bringing up troops to fight east. Huge east attack here. Well, not necessarily huge, as in, well, huge for how much the Axis have. Goliath is sorely needed here on the eastern front, and these troops are going to be able to engage with Russia. Try to thin out the herd a little bit. Weaken some tanks up. 3,800 from Bobo, and he's probably able to get this Berlin tax as well. BC is now coming up to be right, are going to be able to counter, but most of the troops coming out of the way. Oh, so let's see about what gets taken. That's 1 well. Looks like he's got the troops to take a second. This is so key if he can not lock this down, and it looks like he's got it. Goliath had help from his allies, Chris and Napoleon, with the BCs. Didn't really need them there, but they didn't know that. Very well timed, leaving Balthasar to control Algeria while they go ahead and take the wells as well as Egypt. So great trade, and I can't give the advantage though to the Axis, even though the wells were just taken and they have the air advantage, because of how many troops that Boba was able to get back. He's almost got a 200 supply again. He's gonna get this drop loaded. He's gonna spread the map out. Goliath does have his Madrid bunker, important buildings down south. He's not fearing drops coming from Balthasar. They're back in Middle East. Lurker scouting with his Norwegian Air Force because he's got a drop. 12. His supply count's at 67, so there's no way that these are all full. I would say at most he's got half of these full, possibly 3/4, but there's no way these are anywhere close to full. Could be taking Ireland. That might be a good play. Maybe bringing some vultures or fire bats. But meanwhile, we have a fight in Algeria. Napoleon bringing down the scouts. You're going to be trying to look to turn this with the ground of Goliath. But we have a drop coming in from Balthasar. Not necessarily what you want to be dropping is the scouts. Yes, you want to fight this, but you don't want to be losing your precious drops. Too much damage from France, and Germany's going to want to get out of there. Meanwhile, Ireland is getting taken. Is a drop here. They're waiting for these to be taken, and then they're going to run their double drop right down to Spain. Spain, fearing that, he knows that there's that Ireland's being taken, so that's why he has this here. But it's not going to make a difference. So here he sees one. He might not have seen the Russian drops. He's definitely seen the Norwegian drops. RAF coming in from behind. This is where the game could be won for the Allies. Are they going to be able to break? Where are they going to drop? Oh, dropping right where the Messers and the bunkers are. Russia has to drop very shortly. He's got a lot of drops coming out, getting a lot of men down. This is going to be successful. Depends on when the BCs are coming. BCs are coming, probably in about 10 seconds is what they got. So here they're going to be able to take out, they're starting to target some of the drop ships, being able to get that one, probably able to get another. Sees the BCs. Spain's got an SCV, is what Kronos says. Gets all the important buildings. Just has the starport left. You're going to see the BCs. When you see the BCs here, you have to decide either whether you want to fight them with the ground, with the air, and try to knock out some, or do you want to just make sure to knock out these buildings? Like if these troops here, instead of engaging on the BCs, were just to run back and micro these buildings out, it would put Goliath back even further. Look, he's got a 32 supply count, and it's all from here. 1, 2, 3, and there's his fourth one. That's it. That's it. Here he's going to lose this. There's the SCV. SCV taken out, and that might be it. I think he's SCV-less. And this game just went majorly over towards the Allies. That double drop, due thanks to Bobo, making Russian drops and doing what you had to do first. You clear out Ireland, you wait, you be patient. You make sure that the Atlantic is free. It was free. Drops come down. RAF come right behind it, and you get a killer blow. Right now, Goliath for sure is telling his allies to come take my cities. He has nothing he can build. He has no SCV, except for the one back here with his CC. So good job on that for Goliath. This is a great place to put your Spanish command center. Also around this area is also good too. Airport being made by Germany, 2 of them, so he's going to want to replace his scouts, and much safer down here than over here by Berlin. And seeing that the bunk line is at Berlin and that they have been crushed before, taking this command center and probably putting it maybe somewhere down here might be a little bit safer. Nestor's trying to poke, but they're seeing that there's way too many troops here from France. You want to take this heavy industry so that you can stop the division. Bunker's going down. He's now going to be switching to a fully defensive uh, uh, position. Goliath is just going to be wanting to hold Spain and possibly France. Make sure that the Axis get their tax, and not to be any more of a detriment to the team as you are. But really, like, what are you supposed to do against 24 drops with multiple keys of air? You can't. You're a minor country. You're never going to stop that by yourself. And he wasn't able to. But Germany was able to come clear out the country, and for him to be able to retax, and he's going to get a decent tax. Like decent, I mean every city in Spain as well as the lower French city, I believe Bordeaux. So should still get about 2,500, what I would say, as a total amount. There we go, 2,630. They're looking once again. You know what Lurker's thinking. Drop was there, successful. You know that they're going to be trying to hold this. A 12 drop right now would be devastating. Goliath, knowing what's coming, he wants to see it first. He knows these two scouts will not be able to beat any sort of air force, but that's not what they're there for. I could see another one or two bunkers coming down. He's really not going to want to lose this position. BC's heading down to Algiers, and they're not going to be very happy with what they find, because the army is over here knocking out Turkey, and this is tax that the Allies desperately need. They don't have wells. Yes, you do have UK, but you don't have wells, so you need this tax to be able to put yourself on a more even footing with the Axis. If you're looking at tax-wise, some of these cities, like, they aren't being taxed. Like, that's not being taxed. These aren't being taxed. Poland going over to Norway. France starting to take out some of the cities. But they're going to clear out the way once again. He does this multiple times. Drops are on the move. Now with a 79 supply count, you know that these drops are more likely mostly full. Clearing the way out. That is Goliath. Making sure to hold on to that industry, but he's not going to like this. Balthasar sees the drop, sees the weak one. They need to run this air. I think he can get most of it out. This is time that the Axis is wasting chasing these air, and they know it. They're going to head back somewhere. BC count. See 7 there. 2. There you go. So 7 there. 9 German BCs, 2 Italian BCs, 4 carriers. Chris has not been taxing incredible, so these carriers may not have full interceptors, and as you can see, they don't. Not a single interceptor made. He's going to have to wait for 2 before he can load these up. Little poke here by Germany. Going to try to get Poland as well. Meanwhile, this might be taxing this, but these two are definitely not taxed. And it'll be a little bit too late for that probe. But meanwhile, Norway's getting cleared out, and right before 2, great timing. He's going to clear out everything and work his way up towards the Paris, BC. Meanwhile, UK Air is in the vicinity. He has no RAF with him, which I don't see where they are. Just has BCs, so cleared what he could out, and then it's going to pull back. Spain with an anemic cash count of 829. Really, you should just probably focus on holding the capital, and then have the rest of like have Napoleon build as Germany. Make sure he gets all these cities. Small force recapturing Algeria. Shuttle possibly is going to lift. Maybe not. Three ports making air as quickly as possible from Napoleon. Do an upgrade check. 3-0. Does not have any armories left, so he's going to be sticking at that. There, now Chris has interceptors into his carriers. No ground upgrades, really. Where are you? There you are, 3-1. So Balth has gotten some upgrades here for France. 1-0 on the tanks, a little bit light for Bobo. 3-3s, because he's mostly doing drops. He's not dropping his tanks, so hasn't been using his tanks, so don't need to upgrade them if they're not what you're using right away. You can always upgrade them later in the game. 237 man count for Bobo. He's probably calling Argonaut over, or Arg is calling East, or something like that. That is the play. No Protoss wall. So really, anywhere the Allies attack, they're going to be pretty successful. Frankly, I see France coming up here through Turkey, and then Bobo coming down, and then them meeting up right here and advancing forward together. That's the way to win this game. There's Norway scouting. He's seen what this difficult formation of bunkers, and that's not what you want to be dropping. He'd probably much rather drop France, try to find some key buildings like the Spanish CC, German BCC, barracks, these ports. Probably a little bit too deep, these ports, but here's the east attack. So if this is the all-in east attack that I was expecting, then you would think that France would be coming up, but he's trying to clear this bunker without incurring too many losses. The thing is that his team is fighting without him, and he's going to be a little bit too late to get in on this fight. The game's going to be won or lost right here. Bobo with the para drop. He's looking to put the end of this game. Wow, what an amazing drop. Going to put the rest right to the left of them. The RAF is getting all kinds of hits, and I wonder how many interceptors are left. Fair bit. Most of the interceptors are left, so Chris has got to get back into the action with the BCs. He's got to get these carriers in. He's controlling his RAF. He's trying to get back into the action with UK here. But here, carriers popping up, but it might be a little bit too little too late. This is even without France. France is on the way and retaking Africa. But Allies look to have the win under their belts. The tanks need to fall back. They can't be taking free damage, but they killed all that they needed to kill. All German BCs destroyed, just carriers remaining that you have to keep on filling up with expensive interceptors. Plenty of tanks left that you can just roll right into Germany or into Italy with really no stopping. So Axis in a very, very bad spot here, and this is despite knocking the wells out. So Argonaut has not been taxing amazingly, and despite that, they do have an air. Well, they don't have an air advantage, but they do have an advantage. It's Kronos dropping down some knowledge on what the different taxes are worth. Capitals are generally worth between 800 and 1,000. So Chris really needs to be taxing some of these cities, and he is. That's what this probe is doing. Dropping some knowledge as well, and I actually agree with that. Mr. Observer Kronos, very aptly done. He's having some mic issues earlier, else I would invite him to the cast, but here we are. Messes on the move and possibly taking Kronos' advice, although they can't hear him, they are in game. Just going to mess around a little bit. By mess around, I mean mess around. Spain does not want to have that barracks there. Lifting a CC out to a safer position. France congregating here, and this will be the big attack. Now with France here, you have troops that can shoot up, so they're desperately needed these dragoons and these marines to complement the tanks. I'd start upgrading the tanks if I were Bobo now, like you have enough of them. Scouts are going to see the marines here, and that's not who they want to be fighting. Pretty healthy. Be very careful with the drops. You don't want to get messered. This is the winning army. Probably has most of his marines in these drops. Ono saying these messers could go ahead and knock out UK, but this is the finishing blow. They're needed over here for the time being. Axis looking to try to wait until it gets to 2, because then they can start rebuilding, possibly create a front on this line. They need to be maxing out everything here once 2 hits. This is the advantage of fighting within your own country. Drops coming in. Are the drops being targeted? They're not being targeted. Drops not dropping. I think it's just a fake. They were not targeted. Okay. Looks like they were full though. They are dropping men, so he lost a few. Strange how he went right by them. I think it was a failed paradrop there. Bobo with unusual misplay. But even amongst that, there's still lots of marines. If you can't win here in Berlin, then definitely work on Norway and France dropping Spain and just keeping the axis going from one place to another. Doesn't really look like the Allies can kill these units, but they don't really need to. They can just swing right by them and start killing buildings. Like if the Allies were to ever come down into this area, they'd be in a lot of trouble. These are all the important buildings right here. Chris and Napoleon desperately trying to fight back. Bunkers loaded. Last line of defense. Chris lifting barracks. He knows these are his lifeline. He's going to sacrifice this one to buy him just a little bit more time. Napoleon could be making messers, but messers aren't really that useful compared to what the armies they're facing. You could just replenish the ranks of the ones that you have out. With all these marines, there's no way that they can stop this. This is a lot of marines, and they just keep pumping. GG goes out. And we have the Allies win. Team Argonaut with I'll say a close Allies win. They had their wells taken. They had an air disadvantage, but still good plays by Lurker, Bobo. Really good job. Both had a nice hold at the start. Argonaut, solid play. So game 9 in the books goes for Team Argonaut. Now at 7 wins, 2 losses. So 7 wins, 2 losses. Gonna go ahead and save this. So Jan 18. Tourny. Game 9.